check. 1, 2, check.
Mheshimiwa Cecily Barire, who has had a very busy 2 days, yesterday and today, hosting the International Women's Day in Embu. Biketi. Biketi and I come a very long way, so our host in this event, we just come to report progress, and in reporting that progress, we the Honorable Amina Munyazi on the part of Azimio and Honorable Eugene Wamalwa. We did not hide anything. For example, we never agreed on a very important subject as far as Azimio was concerned, and that was on the high cost of living. We have also reported progress to our principal here, and I'm quite sure the other principal is also adequately briefed. A core principle to the NADCO dialogue. NADCO, as by now I'm sure you are aware,
Are we okay now?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, that's the NADCO report. It has officially been presented to the Right Honorable Raila, because you'll be provided with copies of the report for you to interrogate on your own.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister, as my co-chair, Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka, has said, we are here to formally and officially hand over to you the product of the work that yourself and the President did task this team to work on. Your Excellency, as we have briefed you in the boardroom, and as His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka has pointed out, we had difficult times. We also had easy times on some of the subjects that were before us. We began not on a very easy note, but eventually, Your Excellency, we can report to you that we were able to surmount all the challenges that we began with, and eventually agreed on 5 thematic areas that we would tackle, and on an agreed agenda, unlike the way we had begun initially. And eventually, we did agree on almost 90% of the issues that you did task us to address in the National Dialogue Committee. And the few issues that we could not agree on, Your Excellency, as you will read in the report, there are issues that we referred to yourself and to His Excellency the President. But by and large, Your Excellency, as you have just told us there, the most important thing for this team and for our nation is not to forget what led us to the National Dialogue Committee, that there are indeed lives that were lost of Kenyans, there's property that was destroyed, and our economy taken aback for a moment. But the lessons, Your Excellency, that we have learned as a team and as Kenyans, that there is no task that is beyond people or a people in a country when they speak to each other and when they dialogue. We began as 2 teams that had their views on almost each of the issues that were before us. But we were able, through dialogue, to build consensus and agree. And I want to believe even the things that we have referred to you and His Excellency the President are issues that, considered together in the spirit of Kenyanhood, we shall be able to surmount and move together as a country. We have learned our lessons, and Your Excellency, as you have rightly told us, the best gift that we can give to those families who lost their loved ones, those who lost property, is to ensure that never again in this country shall violence become part of our political discourse, and that we shall always endeavor as a nation to speak with each other and resolve our issues amicably. With those many remarks, Your Excellency, let me say on behalf of this Kenya Kwanza team, for many of us it's our first time to be at Capitol Hill. And there's a time, there's a time, Your Excellency, we would not have set foot here. So we are indeed grateful that we are now here as part of the Kenya Kwanza team that are happy to have been welcomed here by yourself and your great team here. And we value you as a Kenyan, as a nationalist, an African statesman who has Kenyans and many Africans at heart. And Your Excellency, we have said elsewhere that even as you endeavor to take over the AU chairmanship, AU Commission chairmanship from the Honorable Musa, we support you as Kenyans. And we support you because you go to the AU not to represent Azimio or ODM, that you go there as a Kenyan. And whenever any one of us as Kenyans is gunning for a continental and international job, we are obligated as patriotic Kenyans to support. And we support your candidature, Your Excellency. And if there is anything we can do, we are ready to do, Your Excellency, to make sure that you clinch that position, because we know you have the stamina and you have the determination and the Pan-African spirit to be able to serve not just the people of Kenya, but the people of Africa and the world at large.
Our work was made relatively easy by a very competent secretariat, men and women who came from the National Assembly, and also you can see there Professor Law, Adam Solo.
We have today received the report of the National Dialogue Committee, which is a negotiated document that pulled the country out of hostilities to the peace that we have today. Two, I want to thank the two leaders, His Excellency Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka and Honorable Kimani Ichungwa, for the leadership that enabled us to get where we are today. I also thank the members from both sides of the talks for the commitment and dedication to national duty that they displayed. 4, getting into dialogue with an antagonist anywhere on earth is not an easy choice. It was not easy for Azimio to get into dialogue with the Kenya Kwanza. I believe it was equally not easy for our Kenya Kwanza counterparts. So thank you, Steve and Honorable Ichungwa, for successfully navigating the strong undercurrents. 5, as we have said before, this document is not perfect, but it is a good start. If fully implemented, it offers an opportunity for peace and reforms that could put this country on a path of prolonged stability and equity in the years ahead. 6, as was the case with the process, this document has enemies from reactionary forces across the political divide, inside and outside Parliament. It requires vigilance. We need to look back and reflect on the circumstances that led to the dialogue and whether we really want to take Kenya back there. As we have said before, there are things we agreed to disagree on, and that includes the issue of the cost of living, which is of much importance to us. The government side demanded that we leave that matter to them, and we agreed for purposes of helping the country to move forward. But this is still a debt, and we are going to continue to press them to address this issue of high cost of living. We got positive results on a number of areas, including the electoral justice, transfer of all devolved functions, and the requisite resources to the county governments, raising equitable share to the county government to not less than 20% of all revenue collected by the national government from the current 15%, among others. 9. We believe that these are significant reform mileages that, if implemented, can help strengthen our governance and electoral processes and safeguard our continuing quest to make Kenya a functioning democracy. 10. The issues contained in this document are not Azimio or Kenya Kwanza issues. These are Kenyan issues. They are our aspirations as the people of Kenya. Those issues should unite, not divide us. 11. Our position is that the report, including the various legislative proposals attendant to it, should be implemented without any alterations.
We did not hide anything. For example, we never agreed on a very important subject as far as Azimio was concerned, and that was on the high cost of living. We have also reported progress to our principal here, and I'm quite sure the other principal is also adequately briefed.
And I want to repeat that our position is that the report, including the various legislative proposals attendant to it, should be implemented without alterations. We also feel strongly that the remaining processes be fast-tracked in Parliament. 13. In this regard, we need leadership from the very top, and therefore urge parliamentary leadership of the two coalitions, Honorable Ichungwa and Honorable Wandai, to demonstrate patriotism, provide real leadership, and steer the next critical steps in this process to a required and speedy conclusion. 14. On our part, we commit to act in good faith and support this process to its logical conclusion. I will be in touch with Honorable William Ruto after he's been given this report, he's received this report, to see how we can get together to ensure that the other matters which have been referred to us are dealt with, and that report is implemented in the full.
Yes.
Very good.
So, Your Excellency, that is the report. Our committee experts were led by Advocate. We also had lessons that we learned, that there is no challenge that is not surmountable when people speak to each other. We have been reminded by the former Prime Minister that we must never forget what brought us to NADCO and how we got there.
They kept on saying, His Excellency the President. We were very angry with them. Who gave you authority? That's an issue for discussion. That's how we started these things. Very hard things. But at the end of it, now I think after today, when you meet your brother, Raila Odinga, will call you Your Excellency, Excellency William Samoei Arap Ruto, because of this work. And it's not like we're in a hurry to force any situation. You know it better. This is your country, and your brother, Raila Odinga, is equally committed to this process. There will be forces, as expected, within the coalitions and outside, within Parliament and outside, who may not like to have a peaceful country, and therefore may want to derail even what we have come up with. We want to ask that you use the authority given to you by law to push this thing through.
Your Excellency, I must admit that I was a bit skeptical from the beginning whether these discussions will see the light of the day. I must admit I had estimated the resilience of the Kenyan people to look for peace and tranquility, and I have since been very impressed by what has happened, and I think this is the way to go. Kenya is bigger than all of us, and we in the executive and our president are very happy to have a peaceful environment because we have a plan.
When finally the history of Kenya will be written, I am sure that if you will not have a chapter, you will not miss some paragraphs in some place, that there were some good people who did a good job for Kenya. But when finally I write mine, surely you'll have a chapter. And I had no doubt in my mind, having traveled this journey as a politician in Kenya for a long time, I had no doubt in my mind that this was an assignment that was doable. And I'm very proud that we finally have a report, and the report has already been adopted by both houses of parliament, and we are now well on course to implementing it. Let me also take this opportunity to commend our former Prime Minister, the Honorable Raila Odinga, for the decision that we jointly made to make sure that we take the country on this path, the path of peace, of dialogue, consultation, conversation, that is what defines Kenya. Kenya is a country that is very well known, and we have credentials as a country, as believers in democracy, and that we can always use democratic means to resolve whatever issues that arise